welcome to the Beatdown. It is Thursday. And on Thursday, we get you ready for the weekend, get you set up, ready to go. So that's what we're going to do. Thank you all for not hammering me too bad. Thank y'all for not hammering me too bad last night. Yes, the Amanda Serrano fight is tonight, even though I thought it was yesterday. It's tonight. So I guess we'll get into that again. Got some WWE news. Got some UFC stuff coming up. Some other boxing. I think Povetkin this weekend. So on the other side of this, we'll jump into our Thursday show. All right? All right.
Introduce you to the greatest combat sports show bar none. You are now in the Beatdown.
You wanna get beat down?
Let us now introduce you to your host, the Badger, and
Shout out to all my family and friends out there in Fighter Share Nation who got their stimulus checks. Remember, we're auctioning off this man to my right, so don't spend all your stimulus money. All right? Actually, I don't even. Yeah, at least save a couple dollars. What's going on, man?
Can't call it, brother. How you doing this morning?
It's Thursday. That's right.
Yeah, definitely, man. We getting towards the end of the week, so this is our last show until our first show, or last show, depending on how you look at it on Sunday. Like you said, we got a lot of stuff coming up this weekend. But because we kind of hammered a lot of those issues home, I know you want to talk about WWE. I want to go ahead and give you some liberty to go ahead and discuss that. I know I saw where they're moving from the Trop back on our side over here to the Yingling Center. And you kind of already predicted these movements. You kind of saw this unfolding. So what else do we know?
I didn't see it going to. Well, yeah, you know what? I keep getting the Yingling Center. Yeah, Sundome. Yeah. For those of you who've been here for a while, it's the Sundome. We knew it was going to happen because the Rays were coming back to the Trop, so they had to go somewhere. They weren't going to go over to St. Pete. I just didn't see that happening. Into St. Pete, I don't even know if the Bayfront Center is still there, but you knew they needed a lot of room, a lot of space. I figured it was either going to be. Really? I thought it was either going to be the Sundome or the Convention Center. And I didn't think they wanted to go downtown anymore. I think, this is going to be a breath for them to get out from the downtown area. Plus, Florida's opening up. And once McMahon gets the money back that he spent for this Thunderdome, they're going to open up as soon as possible. Because that's what separates the WWE from everybody else.
Now, when you say the Thunderdome, for those people that haven't been around, what building is that?
That is the setup that they put inside these different arenas.
Oh, okay, so that setup is just called the Thunderdome?
It's called the Thunderdome. It's got all the screens and lights and, where people can virtually watch the fight like they're there from their home. And that's pretty cool. I've signed up. I haven't gotten called yet, but I kind of want to experience it before it goes away. But
really?
Yeah. If you go on WFLA.com, there's a link. I think today there's a link that you can sign up for the Thunderdome, and it either starts next week or the week after. So you can sign up.
That is interesting, bro. I didn't know that. Register for it. So just give me a brief rundown. Is it a lottery? How does this system work? Do you have to pay? Like, how does?
No.
How does it work?
When I signed up, there was no payment. You register, and you register for which show you want to watch, and they will email you and let you know when you're approved and how to log in and get set up. and you'll have where your seat is. It's like when you buy a ticket to a football game and you get to see what the seat view is ahead of time. That's my understanding of how this works. This experience works. So if you're sitting up in the top, you're going to be sitting up. You'll be looking like you're looking from the top.
Dang.
But I kind of want to find out myself, so I'm waiting. I got to probably go on and re-register again since I didn't get called, or maybe I missed the email. I don't know. Gmail was tripping for a while, so I might have missed it.
They actually were. Yeah, what, last week, 2 weeks ago, right? Somewhere up in there.
For me, it was 2 weeks ago, and then it was a couple months ago. Yeah, it was crazy.
Okay,
but listen,
the
news I wanted to get to for WWE fans is Glenn Jacobs. See if anybody knows who Glenn Jacobs is. Good morning, Sunshine. Glenn Jacobs also went by the name of Isaac Yankem. But he got his big break when he came back as The Undertaker's brother Kane. Glenn Jacobs was announced, The Undertaker announced it online with him in the presence that Glenn Jacobs will be in the 2021 class of Hall of Fame inductees for the WWE. And you talk about a man who has like a 30-year career in wrestling. And it wasn't that wrestling is the only thing he could have done. He was an honor student. He was a very kind of like JBL, but with the degree to back it up. He's a very brilliant mind. But he was able to make it in wrestling in WWE, and then he was able to turn that and with the knowledge that he has in a very successful business career. But he's just been beloved by WWE fans for so long, he just hasn't let it go. But you're talking about go ahead.
I will say this, bro. When I saw the news come out yesterday that he was going to be in the Hall of Fame, I was like, I think by the time Kane came along was about the time I was transitioning out of wrestling. Kane came around, was like the mid to late 90s, right? When he became Kane, right? Was it? No?
It was, let me back up on that. You're probably right, about 93, 94.
Yes.
95.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Or it might have a little bit. Yeah. It might have been a little before that, but
distance myself from the sport.
Because he came in as the Undertaker's brother that he had burned in a fire and killed.
Yeah. That was before Paul Bearer died, but yeah,
Paul Bearer brought him in.
Yeah. Undertaker was it for me, man. So right after Undertaker's kind of when I kind of fell off the wagon, but yeah, I remember when Kane showed up, bro. So yeah, that is for me just being an outsider, like a real outsider. I just thought it was pretty cool that he's in the Hall of Fame, man. I mean, the name, we know the name, and I know he was one of those guys that started to benefit from the early success of the WWF in the mid 90s, and he became one of the first stars of WWE. Him, The Rock, all these guys like around the mid to late 90s, Stone Cold Steve Austin. This one just kind of exploded. Triple H, like he just kind of shot through the roof. So it's kind of cool to see him get his flowers because we still see Triple H a lot. Of course, everybody sees The Rock. All those superstars from the era, we still kind of see them. You don't really see Kane much, so I think it's kind of cool that he got in, I guess.
He's deserving. I mean, he's a multiple time, not just world champion, but intercontinental champion and world tag team champion. I mean, if you add up his title reigns, bro, he's probably, if you add up just the tag team and the singles, he's got to be close between 15 and 20 times that he's held those straps. Not to mention the intercontinental belt. And I mean, and you're talking one of the first guys that was, 6'10", over 300 pounds, that could throw a drop kick.
Man.
Yeah. I mean, he could throw a drop kick. He came off the top rope. He could move like a 200-pound guy. Very fluid in the ring. He and the Undertaker, they had almost the same athletic prowess. And that's why they were able to be billed so close together as brothers, because you couldn't see. I mean, Kane was thicker, except when the Undertaker gained a lot of weight. But Kane was naturally thicker than the Undertaker, but they moved the same punches, similar moves. Just he's had an incredible career, and you haven't heard anything of him doing any, nobody has anything bad to say about him. Even in the videos of people who have nothing to lose. I haven't heard anybody say anything bad about him. So you're right. It's kudos to Glenn Jacobs. Being able to get your flowers on this side, bro. And every once in a while, you still see him come back and end up in the ring. But somebody said one time he had the face for Kane. Jerry.
It's kind of like how they played off with the, well, I don't know if you watch Game of Thrones, but with the Hound and the Mountain. I mean, the Hound and the Mountain. So, yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah.
Jerry Lawler, I stole this line from Jerry Lawler. Guy was heckling me one time from at Side Splitters, and he was on the radio. And I stole this because Jerry Lawler said this about Kane. He said, boy, you got a face built for radio. And when you look at Kane, you're like, wow, nicest guy in the world. But yeah, he wasn't going to win a beauty contest. That mask might have saved him.
Hey, he didn't get in the wrestling for that either. So,
no.
But yeah, congratulations. Bro, real quick before we get off this, the WWE, how many YouTube subscribers do you think they have?
I would guess around about 20 million.
Bro, wow, you cutting your guys short. YouTube, just support WWE has surpassed 75 million subscribers worldwide. Pretty impressive, man. Pretty impressive.
My first inkling was to say 40, and I'm like, no, don't say 40.
You would still been way short, yeah. And boys doing big numbers, or those people, men and women, are doing big numbers over there for WWE.
And you mentioned Triple H, bro. Triple H is in line to take over the company when Vince steps down, because he built NXT up to be their version of AEW. It was getting more viewers actually than Raw for a while. He's done a great job with it, and he seems to be more open-minded because Vince has already changed WrestleMania around at the last minute. So a lot of the performers don't even know the conclusions of WrestleMania at this point. Some of them don't even know who they're facing. It's gonna be interesting. What we gonna say?
Yeah. Well, yeah, man. Transition off of WWE, bro. It was a discussion on Twitter that I kind of, was reading up on. And it kind of said that based on, if you look at the last 20 years of the Fight of the Year rankings, that based on that, that's an indication that boxing is now more of a global sport, because early on, I guess this is what the author was suggesting, was that earlier than that, boxing was an American sport. I find that to be, I mean,
incorrect.
I don't understand the rationale. I don't understand, right? I didn't understand the rationale behind that. There have always been great fighters from all parts of the world. What I thought would have been the more appropriate response, this is why I wonder if you and I will agree, boxing has always been global. The only thing that's changed the boxing landscape for me is the internet and social media. Now, we don't have to read about these fighters. We can see them in real time. So now more people probably have an appreciation for guys that otherwise they wouldn't have had really the ability to see, right?
But I think it's also
boxing has been a global sport, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think with this day and age, it's harder to build legends than it was back then, because you read about or hear about all the fights Julio Cesar Chavez had. You would hear about these legendary boxers that would fill Stade Azteca in Mexico City. And it's like, that's why I would never say boxing has never been a global sport, because until you get
UK.
Right, I was getting ready to say in the UK
they have a whole boxing culture there that we've largely kind of ignored as Americans, to be honest with you.
And they've had a large boxing culture in the Arabic regions. You've in Europe in general, you've had a large boxing culture, but what we didn't know was there was a large boxing culture in Australia, New Zealand, and we just assumed Africa didn't have it, but there's been a large boxing culture there as well.
Yeah,
I mean, it is the largest continent with life on it. I mean, it just, but with the internet, the good is we're able to see all these people. The bad is we're able to see all these people. So it's harder for you to build a legend when people can critique every move.
And here's something that I also found interesting too. When you look at the title list from like 130 pounds down, bro, I don't want to sound ignorant, but how many great American champions of recent memory do you remember from 130 pounds and lower? I mean, there's a couple guys, obviously we can name a couple, but there's a whole lot more guys that had lower title runs than some of the people we named, and they don't even exist. So I think that America has always kind of had this westernized, how we do everything, right? Everything's an American perspective, right? So, and I think that's kind of how
or British
this conversation unfolds. What was that?
Or British.
No, I'm talking specifically American when it comes to boxing, because we didn't even acknowledge the Brits either. So I think for Americans, it was always the bigger guys, right? The heavyweights, the middleweights, the welterweights, you know. But come on, man, there's a lot of weight classes that are south of that, and a lot of those guys have had long runs. I mean, we just started really scratching the surface. Look at Estrada, right? Look at Chocolatito. Come on, man, and this is recent. So,
well, I mean, I can't. I don't know, bro. I mean, I guess boxing fans have always acknowledged the little guys, the lighter weights, not little guys, but the lighter weights, because we understand that those men and women get in and they punch from bell to bell. If you like action, my mom taught me that when I was about 9-10 years old. I wanted to see Larry Holmes fight so bad, and they had on the undercard. I can't remember the name, but the co-main had to be like 116 pounds, around there. And she was like, "No, you need to watch this fight." I'm like, I'll wait for Larry Holmes. I wanted to play and then come back. When she made me sit down and watch that fight, and when I got over being mad and I started looking, I'm like, these guys have not stopped punching yet. It's like they put forehead to forehead. And they just, I was like, this is incredible. And she's like, see, I told you, you got to watch all the weight classes because everybody has their own niche. And I was like, so why do we have middleweights if we have lightweights and heavyweights? She said, because the middleweights, right, they punch like heavyweights and they move like lightweights.
There you go. Yep. There you go.
It made me become really conscious. I remember watching Mark Breland. I remember watching Pernell Whitaker. Obviously, we watched Hearns, Hagler, and Leonard and Duran.
Right.
But then I watched other guys like Ernie Shavers, and Ernie Shavers moved like he was light, man. Plus he had a bald head. He looked like a big Marvin Hagler. But I watched. She got me into really watching all these guys. My dad liked boxing, but my mom loved football and boxing. Those were the sports, and hockey. She didn't care who won. She just liked to see people get beaten up. But that's okay.
Hey man, listen.
My daughter's the same way.
Your mom is a phenomenal woman, so I'm not surprised that she likes sports that real men like. So ain't nothing wrong with that.
Sports and drinking. She could fit in anywhere.
One thing I did notice on the list of the 20 fighters of the year, bro, only 6 were American. So an American is only one fighter of the year 6 times I'm 20. So
who is choosing fighter of the year?
I think this might have been I don't know, bro. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. Because I want to say it was probably Ring Magazine, but I don't want to be wrong. Let me see if I can find it.
Because then I start thinking, okay, who chose you? Now, where are you based out of? Where's your readership based out of? I mean, fighter of the year to me is very subjective. Just like the pound for pound rankings. The only thing that's not subjective on most pound for pound rankings is they have Suleiman Canelo Alvarez as number 1.
I don't think it really gave us a list of the period, the publication, but it just shows fighter of the year from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and then by the time you get to 2000s, then you see all these other nations start to win fighter of the year. So I guess 70s, 80s, and 90s they were saying was American based, but again, that was pre-internet. We couldn't see these people. We didn't know who they were. We could only read about them and stuff, so like that. So, but yeah, at any rate, yeah, that was the discussion. But it didn't say where it came from. I just think it just said, okay, based on whoever won Fight of the Year, this is how we're ranking them, and that's just where they got the information from.
Got you. Quick question. Do you think anybody can become pound for pound number one without beating Canelo?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I was wondering how you were going to answer that question.
Yeah. No, I do. I mean, you got some guys that can move around in some weight classes. If they already champs where they at now, and they move up and win a belt somewhere else, shoot, you can't say nothing about that.
I mean, but do you think he's going to have to retire first before somebody like a Bud Crawford or Shakur Stevenson?
I was just about to point it out. If Terrence Crawford is able to, how about that? If in a perfect world, if Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence fought, if Terrence Crawford wins that fight, then he's hands down the fighter. He's the number one fighter in the world right now, easily. Because Earl Spence is everybody's number two fighter in the world right now. So Crawford beats the number two guy, and he's already been undisputed at 140 and already won a title at 135. Then how can he not?
How many classes has Canelo won titles in? How many different divisions?
4. 54,
Okay.
60, 68, and 75.
And this is why he'll hold on to his ranking probably until he retires, unless somebody beats him.
Nah, I think globally everybody would recognize what a fight between Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence does. Now, the only problem with that is if Crawford were to beat Spence, then he'd have to fight Thurman and Porter in concession to keep that ranking ahead of Canelo. That's what he'd have to do. If he fought Spence and then fought somebody else, then yeah, he'd lose that spot. But the world, everybody around the world knows the fight to be made is Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence, but we just not gonna see it. So until then, we got to settle for Joshua and Fury. Maybe Wilder gets back, and then we got to settle for Canelo against Plant, Benavidez, and maybe Charlo. We got to settle for the round robin at 154. But the biggest fight in the world to be made is Crawford Spence.
I just can't wait. I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a big discussion point. Who is going to be the number one ranked fighter pound for pound? People are still going to hang on to Suleiman, man. He has a legend that Spence and Bud are trying to get. They're trying to grow.
Oh, you mean Canelo? Yeah. I mean, bro, he fought Floyd Mayweather at 22. He was only going to go up from there. So, but I will say this though, bro. Keep in mind too, Canelo's younger than both of them. Mm-hmm. That's probably the most important part. Not so much what he's already done, which that counts for a whole lot, but the fact that he's probably going to fight while these guys are retired still.
I wonder about that because he started fighting professionally at 15. So he's got a lot of time and wear and tear on that body.
Yeah, wear and tear, natural wear and tear. He's never taken a punch. He's never taken a beating. Bro, how many close fights has he been in other than with Triple G?
Except the one he lost from Floyd. Yeah.
Right, and he didn't get hurt in that fight because Floyd wasn't a big puncher. So again, bro, he's well preserved, man. He ain't been in no wars. None.
It'd be interesting to see because I think at the end of the day, his legend will equal, for Mexican Americans, the legend of Julio Cesar Chavez. I don't think anybody will ever take that from Julio, who's Mexican born.
Ooh.
But I think
well, Canelo's Mexican born too.
Right,
Ooh.
but what I'm saying, I'm not saying he's not.
Ooh.
But what I'm saying is Mexican born people, they love Julio Cesar Chavez.
Yeah.
Mexican Americans, there's enough distance where I think they may be able to see Canelo as okay, he's as good. Yeah.
This is a healthy discussion. I like to debate this with you one day, just for the giggles of it. I don't think anybody's gonna be right or wrong, but that is interesting. Connect more, bro. So that's like LeBron being better than Jordan, is what you said.
If I was making that analogy, yeah. Or Jordan being better than,
it was comparable.
Yeah, or Jordan being better than Bill Russell, or Magic Johnson being better than Oscar Robertson, rather. I'm sorry, but yeah.
Yeah, they want to mess it up, but yeah. So yeah, I'm with you.
Of course I did.
That'd be an interesting discussion, bro.
Listen, you brought something up, and I keep seeing this debate on social media. Will LeBron James ever be considered as great as Michael Jordan? And when you look at LeBron's numbers from when he came into the league overall to now, I would say yes. But you look at Jordan's championships and you go, I don't know. But then how do you judge a man? By his rings or by the teams that he built up? And when he vacated, what did they do? When Jordan left the Bulls still made it back to the conference championship, if I'm not mistaken, with Scottie Pippen.
Yeah. So
you got to shake your head on that. When LeBron left the Cavs, they got the first pick in the draft. So, I'm just saying, you got to look at it for what it is.
Yeah, but when he left the Heat, they were okay. The Heat didn't really fall off when he left.
What'd they do?
Dwayne Wade was still good. Chris Bosh, I think, was just about to retire. They were still a playoff team.
They were a playoff team, but they didn't make it back to the conference championship.
No.
You could tell.
If they would have had Chris Bosh, I would like to bet they would have.
Well, I mean, we got to look at
Phipps, right? We would never know.
Right.
Bosh
Really happened.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at the void with LeBron on the Lakers. You look how good the Lakers are with LeBron, even without Anthony Davis. When LeBron got hurt, everybody said, "Oh Lord, just hold on to make the 8th spot." That was the consensus through the NBA. Just hold on to make the 8th spot.
I think the problem for most historians and most people that were able to watch Michael Jordan when he first entered the league and into his prime. So people your age, because I don't really remember much of Mike when he first got in the league. By the time I was aware of who Michael Jordan was and what he had become, he was about to win his first ring against the Lakers that year.
Yeah.
So I don't remember the North Carolina Michael Jordan. I don't remember the Jordan in the early years with Bill Collins, Doug Collins. Getting behind beat up. I don't really remember that Jordan.
Well, let me fill you in. Because
I know history, I just didn't get to see it.
No, I'm just talking about talk on the street. People said Michael Jordan gonna retire because he'll never win a championship. That was the conversation among most people. They really felt like Michael was not going to get over the hump in Chicago.
I think, and that was going to be part of my point I was going to bring up too. When people look at Michael Jordan, it's not so much about all of the other stuff, because that part of it can be debated. 6 for 6, scoring champ, points per game per season, points per game in the playoff, all the MVP, all MVP, defensive NBA, all that stuff, right? We can compare all that. I think the problem comes in is when we talk about the other stuff. What greats have LeBron kept from winning anything? None. Anybody that's been considered great in this generation has beaten LeBron. When we look at the greats that were around the time when Jordan was, he ended the Pistons run. He ended the Celtics run. He ended the Lakers run. He stopped Clyde. He stopped Charles. He stopped John and Carl together in tandem. Bro, he stopped Charles Barkley. I could name probably 3 or 4 other all-time greats. David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon, only when he stepped away for 2 years. I could name some all-time greats, not good players, not star players. I'm talking about all-time greats. When we talk about the pantheon of players, these guys are in that conversation. Michael stopped all of them from winning a championship until he decided to walk away. That is what LeBron James hasn't done. And before you counter with that, Michael Jordan only had one superstar player on his side. He had other good players.
Wait a minute.
But only one
Back
superstar.
Back up. On that last 3, no, he was not the only superstar. You gonna discount Dennis Rodman? Really? Even Scottie wouldn't discount Dennis Rodman's attributes to that.
Let me rephrase that. You're right. Dennis Rodman is the best rebounder of basketball we've ever seen, so I can't discount that. Let me rephrase what I was trying to say. Michael Jordan only had one other player that could kind of take over a game if need be. That was Scottie Pippen.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. LeBron has had Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. He has Anthony Davis. He had Kyrie Irving.
Only one other player, though. When he was in Cleveland, one other player, Kyrie.
Oh yeah.
When he was in LA, one other player, Anthony Davis.
No, hold on. Now, I will say this now. When he went to that Cleveland team, the perennial all-star and pickup on that team to give him a big three was Kevin Love. Now, as good as Kevin Love was, and people would debate me on this, I just wouldn't say he's a big three, but statistically, and based on what he was doing in Minnesota, you can make an argument that Kevin Love was a walking double-double. This dude was doing what, 2010, 20, and 15 every night.
He was by himself in Minnesota because,
Right. But he was a star. And you brought him in with LeBron to pair him up to give them a second big three, like what they did in Miami. That is the difference between Michael Jordan and LeBron James for me. Because what this man does physically, 6'9", 260, 240, whatever he is, you ain't gonna never see that again. That dude is he is the Achilles of basketball. If you got to build a basketball player, you build LeBron James. But I just think that when you start talking about those other things, I don't think it's even really close, to be honest.
Wow. Okay. I have to differ on that one. I look at the impact he made when he came into the league. He instantly made Cleveland relevant. Instantly.
Michael Jordan made Chicago relevant.
No, there's a difference. There's a difference. Michael Jordan made Chicago must see, but people were only watching to see Michael take off from the free throw line. They were seeing to see what Air Jordan was going to do. He didn't make them instantly relevant as far as, hey, how far can they go in the playoffs? Because he was playing against some teams who figured out, we'll beat you up, we'll batter you around, and we'll stop everybody else.
Bro, I know you remember this, but it probably resonated with me a little bit more because we were in the same age bracket. But the only reason why, first of all, Cleveland was trash before they got LeBron. And the only reason people wanted to see LeBron James is because we couldn't believe that this 18-year-old was being anointed as the best ever by people like Shaq and Magic Johnson, all those other NBA players that would basically, when they were in town to play the Cavs, would go watch LeBron as a high school basketball player. That's the only reason why we were watching. LeBron didn't. Bro, when did he make? How long was he in the league before he made the playoffs? He was about the same time as Mike, right? They both were in the league about 4 or 5 years before they made the playoffs, right?
No, I think LeBron made the playoffs in like his third year. Keep in mind, Mike was with Chicago for a minute. Mike
was class of 84, right?
5, I thought.
Yeah, 84, 85. 84, they made the playoffs in 89 and got bounced.
Yeah.
And they made it again in 90 and got bounced. And then they won 91. So that's 3 or 4 years. So
that's 5 years, bro. He came.
You said if he was class 85, he made it to the playoffs in 89, bro.
I thought you meant the rookie class of 85. I didn't think
his first season in the NBA was what year?
I think it was 85.
So he went 3 seasons before they made the playoffs.
85, 86, 87, 88. That's 4. And then the 5th year, 89, they made the playoffs.
So his first in the NBA was 84. Because 84 plus 5 is 89. 85 plus 4 is 89. So I'm saying, whatever year it was. So it was 4 years or 5.
Yes.
And you say LeBron made it in 3?
I'm looking this up because I could be wrong.
Yeah, but this is a part of the whole greater conversation when it comes to people talk about, LeBron and Mike. And it depends on how another thing people have to look at too is, are you somebody that believes in efficiency? Because it's so like the way. 6 for 6. If you believe in somebody being great just by the ability to get there a lot, then yeah, that would be LeBron James. Now, he's lost more than he's won, but hey, he got there so many times, right? So there's a case we made for that too.
Rookie year was 84. Yeah.
Jordan's 84? Okay. And what year the Bulls first made the playoffs?
What was Jordan's first year making the playoffs with the Chicago Bulls? No, this is wrong. This is the first year they won the championship. It's telling me 91, but I know they got bounced in 89 and 90.
Okay.
So I would go with 89. Either way, I think, and this is just from me watching it, LeBron had a bigger impact with his team in the NBA earlier than Michael Jordan team-wise. But I could be wrong. Again, it's just I remember seeing Jordan in college. His freshman year, he disappointed me very much when he hit that shot. But it is what it is.
Oh yeah.
What it is.
Oh yeah. Man, he broke your heart. Bro, think about the Knicks fans and the Cavs fans. Just them two alone, bro.
He didn't break my heart as an NBA player because again,
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but
we're talking about in college. Yeah,
in college when he beat Georgetown with that.
Right? Patrick Ewing. Ask Patrick Ewing who's better, huh? Ask him.
And that was 2 years in a row. That was 2 years in a row.
Patrick Ewing's whole career, man.
Listen, in the McDonald's All-American game, I think it was still called the McDonald's All-American game then. You had two of the biggest high school seniors, most popular high school seniors in the world, Michael Jordan and Patrick Ewing, going head up. Bro, Mike dunked on him.
Bro, listen, if I'm Patrick Ewing, bro, I'm going to wait probably about another 15, 20 years. I'm going to go ahead and take Mike out. I'm going to run up on him, and I'm going to put him back. Bro, I got you, man.
I wouldn't have waited. I wouldn't have waited that long. Man,
Pat got bad knees, man.
It doesn't matter, but he get them hands on him.
Mike old and broke down first.
No,
so
you get them hands around Mike's neck. It don't matter about your knees. Get your hands around his neck and
you got to get
bite him in the face.
You
get
close to him first.
Because when you go up to give him some dap, just slide the hand up. Ow!
Okay.
Patrick looked like he could still fight though.
He could, bro. News out on the street, and I know you got something to say about this. How do you feel about Antonio Tarver?
Here we go.
For whatever reason, again, seems to be snake bit. He is now out against Frank Mir, and Steve Cunningham is stepping in. Do you know anything about this, bro? What's going on?
I was going to ask you that same question. I should have started off the show with that question. As to why he got, did he get hurt?
It just says it sounds like he failed the physical, right? Because I saw where it says he was not medically cleared.
Wow, both of them are over 50 and you're not medically cleared. Okay. Wow.
But that's wild because Tarver's in the gym every day, and before this fight was announced, he was in the gym every day. If he's not in there training guys, he's working. So, man, I really want to know what happened, man.
I know, right? He might be pregnant. I'm hoping it's not COVID.
I mean, we have moments on this show where that kind of stuff happens, and that was one of them. But I'm gonna keep going.
No, I'm serious about the COVID. I hope he doesn't have COVID because that's like the main thing pushing people out now.
Yeah.
Because he's been fighting his whole life. I can't see what would keep him.
And unlike most of those guys, he didn't look like he had got completely out of shape. He always he's had some type of, he was in some semblance of shape, whereas Mike ballooned up to 300 and all these other guys kind of just all of a sudden start training. Tarver's been active, if not with his son and training fighters, because he was still trying to get a fight for so long. So yeah, this is unfortunate for him. I'm wondering what the cause was, but what's even more ironic is they picked Steve Cunningham to step in.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, that gives Frank Mir a shot.
Tarver and Steve had beef. They had a fight, and that fight ended in a draw. Right? That was a draw, correct?
If I'm not mistaken, yes.
Okay. Yeah. So that was interesting, and this comes on the heels of Steve Cunningham mentioning too that he was thinking about getting into bare knuckle FC. So
it'd be interesting, bro. I'd watch it just like I'd watch Tarver and Frank Mir. I definitely would watch Cunningham.
Yeah. I mean, I get it.
He's a friend of the show. Been on here, talked about the flat Earth policy.
Yeah. I feel you, and that's why you want to watch it, because it can't be because it's a better matchup than Steve and Francis. But we're gonna leave that alone, bro.
What day is the fight?
Here's something I know you want to talk about. We got to get Bryant Perrella on the show because he's fighting Tony Harrison next month, bro. Let's start talking about this too, because we know both fighters because we've watched them a lot, but we've watched Bryant Perrella come up.
Yeah.
So, and he broke the news here on the platform earlier last year that he will be going to 154. But because of COVID and the way everything slowed down, of course, he didn't get any fights last year, like most guys didn't. Now he's facing Tony Harrison in his first fight at 154. This seems like something that PBC does. We know that Tony will be the A side. What are your initial thoughts on the fight itself?
It's tough, man. It's because I respect both of them. I really do. Tony Harrison is just such a slick boxer, man. He's such a good boxer. I love Bryant Perella. I really do. I think it takes somebody with the power of Charlo to really affect Tony Harrison. But Tony Harrison's been out for a while.
Now, be mindful. You say someone with the power of Charlo. I don't think you crown Willie Nelson or Jarrett Hurd as punches, and they all also knocked out Tony Harrison. So I don't know. I do get what you're saying. I think at this point it looks as if, well, especially after he beat Charlo the first time, it looked as if Tony Harrison was, and this is not seeing where Lubin was at the time, but it was definitely looking like Tony Harrison was going to be the best fighter in that division, the best boxer, right? Correct. I think we all kind of feel like, and most people kind of feel like Erickson Lubin has the biggest toolbox, right? I think we had Coach Breadman on here, and he said that. He said, I think Erickson Lubin is the most talented guy at 154. Like, he has the most tools. So as we see Lubin, keep doing his thing, and we see Harrison, I think those two, we kind of all feel like, until we see Jarrett Hurd do something, I think those two guys are the biggest threats to Charlo if he has to have a threat right now. So to see Harrison fight Bryant Perella, I think for a lot of fans.
And let me ask this question.
Kind of like a let.
How many fights? Exactly. Keep going, because I was getting to that with my question.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a letdown for them, because it's like, okay, we know who Bryant Perella is, but the last time we saw Bryant Perella, he got stopped with 10 seconds left to go.
And wasn't he at 147?
He was fighting at 147.
Right. Now you're at 154.
So now you're going up, which for Perella, this is going to make it better for him, because based on what he told us and what we saw, he ran out of gas, right? And from what he told us, that weight cut was really hurting him. And we know Bryant's a big 47. That was his thing. In the fights he was winning at 47, he was just his power, right? At 54, I don't know if that power translates. And if it does, is it enough? Or is it enough for someone like Tony Harrison, who we know can be hurt, clipped, and stopped late in fights?
Well, as they say in the 5 heartbeats, we shall see. We shall see. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
Listen, one fight we never talked about, and I shared it with you. Corey Sandhagen, TJ Dillashaw, May 8th.
Man, listen, I'm hyped. Well, I'm a Corey Sandhagen guy. So I'm hyped about that. And I like TJ Dillashaw. So this is going to be a barn burner, bro. But that's 6 weeks away, right? Or a little more or less. So we got a lot of time to build up on that. But yes, you did send this to me, my friend. I appreciate it. But yeah, I'm a Corey Sandhagen guy, man. So yeah, I'm hyped as a fan of his, but also as a fan of sport. And I respect TJ Dillashaw. I mean, you know what Dillashaw is capable of doing. This is why this is going to be a great must-see fight. Is that going to be the headliner?
Looks like it.
Or have they not announced? Looks like it.
They didn't announce it. Just like they announced it the week after that. You got Charles Oliveira versus Michael Chandler.
I saw that too. Yeah, I saw that too.
UFC 262. Dillashaw is going to be on a fight night. That should be a pay-per-view, but that's going to be a fight night event. Come on,
you know
man.
What, though?
Yeah.
But you know what? No. I agree with you. I agree. But this is kind of how the UFC can win, right? I can get these two guys who should be headliners, but because they're not my champ or number 1 or number 2 ranked opponent, I can give it putting them on a fight night. Because guess what? Now I can sell it for more to advertisers, because I know I'm going to get more viewers, and the fans like us are like, man, we getting a treat on an off week. So I ain't mad at Dana White, man.
It's gonna be. I can't wait for both of those fights. I can't wait. I want to see. And yes, I I have an ulterior motive. It's a little bit devious. I want to see just how bad Michael Chandler makes the division look.
Bro, we all know you're a closet Bellator guy, bro, and I know you all for breaking this monopoly up and getting some uniformity in MMA. I ain't mad at you, bro. And if Michael Chandler come over here and do that, then guess what? We got to start letting a lot more credence to them guys that's over at Bellator because he's doing it in the probably the hottest division in the UFC, right? 155,
right?
Hey, so
when now that Habib is retired, it's wide open.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm wondering is this going to be a title fight, or is this like a title going to be a title eliminator?
Nah, it's got to have to be an eliminator. You can't just bring him right in and get him into the championship. Even after one fight, as good as he looked.
But who did he fight? Who was his first fight?
Yeah, I can't call his name, but yeah.
Wow.
I mean, my memory simply broke because I was ready to talk about Dillian White, so you kind of threw me off with this one.
Well, go ahead, jump into Dillian White.
No, let's put a button on this one though, because
when you said that, it left the tip of my tongue. Because who he fought was a major player in the UFC. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't an also ran, and he just beat him down. So
all right, so
it's gonna be interesting
because you're a slacker. And you pull off to the next topic without finding out who it was. I'm going to.
While you're looking it up, I want to make things perfectly clear. This person over to my right said that I am a closet Bellator fan. I want everybody to know I'm not in the closet about anything. I'm pretty much an open book.
Oh, okay, there we go.
I'm not R. Kelly. I'm not keeping adolescents in the closet.
Dan Hooker.
Oh, Dan Hooker. Okay.
Right, just the number 3?
Yeah.
2? What was he rated?
Yeah. Exactly. Hey, here's your first fight. You want to come over?
Yeah. I'm with it though. Listen, I'm with it. I just don't think you can do it. I mean, look, you brought him in for a reason, right? Let him get your money out of him. Not put him in there with somebody else, and then put him in there with somebody else, and then put him in there for a belt. Listen, guess who don't care about it?
Dana White.
Michael Chandler.
Because he's getting what?
Because he's a dog.
Paid.
And he's getting paid.
He's getting
paid. He's getting all the fanfare that comes along with it, so he ain't complaining.
And I think it's hilarious that the commentators before the fight kept saying, and Dana White backed the Brinks truck up to Michael Chandler's house. I'm like, why are you putting this man's business out there like that? You didn't say what he's getting paid. You didn't say what he was getting paid. You said he was getting paid a lot of money.
That's a little shade, man. A little shade outside.
And then he came out and whipped Dan Hooker's behind. I mean,
made it look like easy work.
He didn't sweat.
Bro, we up against it, but before we get out of here, Dillian White is the favorite for the heavyweight showdown this Saturday across the pond. Does that make sense to you?
He's not fighting Povetkin, is he?
Yes, he is.
Ooh.
The same dude that knocked him out in tremendous fashion about 4 or 5 months ago. Yeah, that's who he fight.
No habla inglés, mi amigo. No habla inglés, mi amigo.
Now you know what's going on. Now you understand.
¿Qué?
Yeah. That's all right.
That makes no sense, bro. That makes no sense.
I mean, Povetkin's 41.
But you knocked me out at what, 40? Oh, so 41 made a bigger difference?
Hey, man. We saw Chop get old in there last week. Maybe Povetkin gets old in there tomorrow. I mean, on Saturday. I don't know. I'm just trying to give people something to talk about, bro. Okay. But I'm with you on this, man. I don't really understand. Listen. Povetkin just need to listen. Dillian White just need to go in there and win this fight, bro.
Because you get knocked out again.
Fight, man. Yeah, bro. Go in there and win the fight because somebody got to fight Wilder. Go ahead and win the fight, bro. So then Wilder can do what he gonna do to you, and then we can get this thing rolling again. But please win the fight. Please win the fight. Please win the fight. That's all.
Put some manliness on the name Dillian.
Put some manliness on it?
On the name Dillian. Because that's the problem. Nobody's afraid of Dillian. Who are you fighting? Dillian. Ooh, no. It's not like Mufasa. It's Dillian. Dillian White. I mean, that's just sounds like he's gonna go in there and give somebody a good thrashing.
Well, he's been doing it pretty good, except when he,
Fuck
you know,
Povetkin.
when they,
Povetkin, that sounds like a name. You better carry a gun to that knife fight.
or a lot of vodka. Listen, it was yeah. Anyway, so we'll be tuned in. We'll watch it and we'll have some talk about it on Sunday. But we up against it, man. What else you got?
And tonight is the Amanda Serrano fight. Tonight, I apologize, Amanda.
He redeems himself again.
Yes, tonight is the fight on NBC Sports Network at 9 p.m. I will be watching it, and then I will be also staring into the most beautiful eyes on the planet. My wife, and the second most beautiful eyes I'll be putting to bed right before that. That's my daughter. Looking forward to that. I might actually massage my wife's feet while we watch the fight.
Oh, here we go.
While we watch the fight.
We know how this movie ends, bro. Don't tell all your business on that.
I ain't gonna tell all my business. But I'm gonna be wearing that icy hot patch tomorrow.
Hey, good for you, my friend. That's the perks of
be like
having
Shaq.
a best friend. But ain't nothing wrong with that, man.
What Shaq say? When I put in a hard night's work, I need the icy hot patch. Yes. Oh man, did you catch Penalty Talk last night? The Running Gun podcast.
I only tuned in at the early part when they were talking about the Tigers, bro. I did miss the other quarters. I only saw part of the first quarter, so I missed it.
These dudes had me crying, bro. When they said that's the new Tiger King. He's the head coach of Alabama State that beat Dion.
Hey, they hard for that.
Oh my God.
Man, hashtag watch the pod, man. Y'all check out them boys over at Plenty Talk, man. They got some good stuff going on, and we'll lend our hashtag to them for the time being. Hashtag watch the pod. Y'all check out Plenty Talk, man. I like this guy.
Yeah, they appreciate that. They working hard, boy. They were talking about that, how they beat, because I saw the game, and it was an interesting game. But listen, shout out to the USF women's basketball team, bro. That's probably the only basketball team they're going to have for a while. I spoke to a former player for USF yesterday who played back with Chucky Atkins and Donzel Rush and all them. Just complete disappointment about what's going on that campus with the men's basketball team. Complete and utter disappointment. And again, I know this isn't a combat sport, but everybody's got to go now. When you lose 6 out of 13 players to the transfer portal, you got 7 left. Your recruiting is going to fall off completely. That head coach got to go. He got to go. But at this point in the year, who do you bring on? What big name is out there? I mean, Urban Meyer already went to Jacksonville. You can't bring him to coach USF basketball. Who are you going to bring on that's going to be able to recruit? I mean, John Thompson III's out there. I mean, you try to bring him to USF, but it's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. You made a point, and that's what he was talking about. The guy was talking to me last night about. He said, look, UCF never surpassed us in basketball until recently. They caught up to us in football, even though we started off way after they did and just started off like a house of fire. But they caught up to us and passed us in football. They're beating us in basketball. The only thing that we still dominate them in is women's basketball and softball.
Yep.
USF, it's time to really do a gut check and look in the mirror and figure out where you want to go from here. Do you want to just be a research university, which is not bad? Not bad at all. You get a lot of money from research. Or do you want to really make the most out of your NCAA football and basketball programs? If you do, you need to stop hiring friends of friends and stop hiring who looks like the hottest name. Who do I owe a favor to? You need to really make a conscious effort to say, I'm going to improve my facilities and I'm going to hire the best candidate out there for growth. I'm not a coach, but I should be.
Or at least a wordsmith.
Or at least a wordsmith.
Sounded good.
I appreciate it. But I could be dog. I love coaching. If I could right now, that's what I would do. I would get into coaching. I love it. I love it. I love seeing people grow within something. That's why I really enjoyed teaching when I did it. I love directing because it's a shorter field, but you take somebody who takes a script and the next thing you know, they've developed it into a whole personality. So, I mean, I love that. That's just what I was called to do. That's why I'm working with you. I'm trying to bring you out of the hat and glasses into the grown man outfit. So hopefully we can get that. You had a shirt and tie on during our first season.
I did. Many moons ago.
And I'm like, watch the pod. Go back on YouTube.
Watch the pod.
Watch the first season. Only thing he had on was the sunglasses. And I figured we were progressing. We go to this Joker shows up with a hat and sunglasses. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Where have I failed him? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
You haven't failed me, which is allowing me to manifest my greatness, bro. That's the mark of a great coach.
No,
lead him there and you let him grow, bro.
I led him to the water and he peed in it. He didn't drink. He peed in it.
Don't pull your star player because he's struggling. He'll find a way.
Yeah, ask Casey Jones that about Sean Kemp. Sean Kemp
has a dispensary, by the way.
He needed one back then. Sean Kemp put Casey Jones on heart medication, made him retire. He couldn't deal with him. So yeah, you got your star player treatment. Yeah, so I ain't going on heart medication. I'll bounce first. I already got no hair. I had an afro when I met this man. Okay, it wasn't an afro, but I had the potential of one. Anyway, shout out to my mom, my wife, my daughter, the Lipinski family again. Shout out to the victims, the families of the victims of, out in Colorado. It's hard. And my partner always talked about, he used to always talk about on the Beatdown, reach out to your family and friends because mental health is real. And they were talking about statistics during this pandemic and how there's so many more cases of depression and anxiety and in children. They say the pandemic doesn't affect children have been, contemplating things that you would never think a child would contemplate. Children don't even recognize what's going on inside their bodies because adults are dealing with their own issues. So reach out to your friends, family. Reach out to those nieces and nephews and little cousins. Maybe you just going by and speaking to them and, playing marbles or throwing the ball around or playing a video game shows them that somebody outside their world cares and wants to get in their world. So I'm not going to take my partner's premise, but that touched my heart because I look at my daughter and I'm like, this little girl her laughter brightens the room. But I know she's going through it during this, but thanks to my wife and my mom and my wife's dad and, the village has really stepped in and she has been able to raise the village because the village made itself available. I'm not going to say the village is raising her. She'll tell you she is raising the village. So, and my mom said, I just hope we're not a village of idiots. But she put herself in that when she said we're not because
she could have said y'all.
Yes, and I couldn't have argued with her because that's my mom. Just saying. She included you in that though, so just let you know.
Yeah, I'm like the outside village.
She included you with the idiots. It wasn't just you were like family. So if you're family, you got to be one of the idiots. So, hey, shout out to my buddy Jomo. I hear him back there trying to get on air. Come on, man. Show him my mascot, man. Show him my mascot.
Typical Johnny come lately. Mascot is outside because he's got to get a bath today. We ain't gonna put all our business out here on the streets, so man, we want to appreciate everybody for chiming in with us today. Everybody at Fight Extra Nation for rocking with us, man. We're gonna have some merch coming for y'all soon. My partner gonna be looking real dapper by next week. We're gonna see y'all Sunday. We're gonna have a whole lot to talk about, all these fights that we missed and the fights we won't miss. We'll talk about it on Sunday, man. We'll see y'all there. Spread the love. And my partner said, "Mental health is real. Tap in with your people." Happy 49th birthday, Joe Calzaghe. He beat the brakes off Jay Plessy. He was never the same. And he beat the old Roy Jones. I give him credit for it. We'll see y'all Sunday. We out here, Fight Extra Nation. Peace.
Peace.